Top left, our purple Protoss player from Alpha X. He is Astrea.
And of course, in the bottom right, in the goal, the master tactician of TVP, he is for Team GP, Ryung. So, Wardy, my question for you, you talk about the purple Protoss player for Alpha X. Is he a positively perfect purple Protoss player?
Positively perfect purple Protoss player. That's a quintuple P. Is
Yeah. There we go.
Wow.
5 Ps. But hopefully not 5 Ps like together, because that means we have a pause, and that's technical issues, and we're not going to summon that in this game. No, we won't.
Please, please, please press pause. I'm literally begging you to press pause. Okay, now you've done some alliteration for Astrea. I want to hear it for Ryung.
Wriggling right. I got nothing. Don't put me on the spot here, Wardy. This is not going to end well.
Nice. Okay. Well, we tried. Sorry, Ryung. You're just not meant to be alliterated with. I suppose. End of story. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, as we get this going, though, we saw on Moondance, this map comes up quite a lot in this matchup, actually. It seems to be, I want to say, fairly popular in a world where Moondance is considered a weird one because of in-base expansions and stuff, but, the Terrans, they like the in-base, it's easy to take, it's less space to defend. The Protoss, they don't mind it sometimes, but it is less gas with less mineral patches, which sometimes they don't love as well, so it's definitely funky. That's a dead probe, though. And that feels bad. You spend the 50 energy to save the probe, and the probe doesn't live.
Well, it's going to be nice for Ryung. You need to talk about this map and say, oh, dude, who likes it? Yeah, you're right. It's fairly, it's like 53-47 in terms of competitive play right now. So minor Terran favorite, but I think that is true for the most part across really the entire maps. And the good news for Astrea here is it's not waterfall. It's not inside and out. It's not these maps that are insanely short and really lean into a 3 racks or something like that. Not that we have a 3 racks in this game, of course. Ryung is going for a standard opener, and he's going to get a Reaper in the main base, scouting that this is, in fact, Stargate play. So he's going to say, oh, okay, I know what I got to worry about. And he's got to make sure he's aware and avoiding the Adept. But as long as he knows the Stargate's out, I mean, it means he shouldn't say, YOLO a drop in and lose that and find himself a disadvantage that way.
It was fun. We talked to Ryung last week, right? And we asked him sometimes, like, oh, don't you feel like you could have ended the game here or been a bit more aggressive? And he was like, well, I just don't believe in myself to, not mess up the game in them moments, right? So, well, if this was Hero Marine, now it'd be like, oh, Hero Marine's got a Cyclone, Viking's going to go try and push and see if he can get some damage done. And a lot of the times he wins the game, right? For Ryung, it's like, well, he's getting the Cyclones because he wants to be able to defend comfortably, but I'd be shocked if he actually moved across the map because of his own admission of saying, like, I'm just not confident in myself being able to necessarily not mess up the micro and not mess up the fight and then kind of lose the game out of nowhere. So we'll see what he does, but it'll be interesting. It's definitely cool to kind of have that different kind of just even confidence level between the players on different stages. Ryung, he just knows he's so good when it comes to positioning and taking those later game engagements. He kind of sometimes just likes to let the game go there instead of ending it any earlier.
What do you make sense? We had an interview with Ryung in Katowice where he said, my body is Ryung, but my soul is Mario. Which, hey, if you want to sit back and turtle, I can't think of a better player to steal the soul from, but he is actually getting active on the map right now with this early game push. You talk about that Hero Marine-esque style. 1 Phoenix on the bottom side of the map, or actually 2 Phoenix on the other side of the map. Astrea has no idea this is happening from Ryung as he's heading in a 3rd Cyclone, additional Vikings. There is not a lot here coming out of Astrea right now. He's got 3 Adepts, and that is just about it. So there is some worker damage that's going to happen. Make no bones about it. So the pylon's going to go down. The Phoenix are just not where they need to be, and even still, you run Phoenix in, but well, the lock-on's actually great job there, forcing the lock-ons on the Cyclones first. Phoenix lifting up everything, but life is just not happy for Astrea whatsoever in this game, and he cannot hold this. Yeah, Ryung, we talked about him not going aggressive early, but hey, Astrea didn't expect that either. Ryung 1-0.
Yeah, I feel like this almost played. It's like, yeah, I didn't expect him to, but almost neither did Astrea. There's no battery there. He feels completely safe. He doesn't believe Ryung is going to come across the map, and Ryung, it wasn't fancy, right? to be honest, it was nothing to mess up. So for all the reasons he might not usually push, in this case, what was there to mess up? He target fired down the Phoenix. That's pretty something you can pretty consistently do. As soon as there's no battery there, right? It's an easy push in, commit, go. If there's a battery there, it's a lot more complicated. You take that down, do you fight in? In this case, he just went in, and Astrea just straight up dies in the early moments of game number 1. And this one gets off to a very quick start as Ryung, well, one map away from knocking Astrea out of the tournament and continuing what would be a pretty good run for him, because he would be one match away from that offline section of the TSL9.
On that he would, and we talked about this before, or maybe in the start of the previous game. Astrea has been looking so good recently. That the Home Story Cup run, the Valencia run, and even if you just look at kind of stats, right? You pull up a Ligalak, and which is maybe not always the best option, but it's a good idea to judge relative strength. That says, yeah, Astrea's 70-30 here. This is not a matchup that Ryung is favored in. Now, I don't believe that because of how good Ryung is, specifically his TVP is, but this is a matchup that, just the way Astrea plays in general, I would have expected him to maybe do a little bit better. But we're going to move into game 2. It's a bigger map. And the way Astrea likes, he's a macro guy. So we're going to have to see if he can make something happen here, as in the bottom left side of the map. He's up 1-0 off a Hero Marine-esque push for Team GP, Ryung.
And in the top right-hand corner, our purple Protoss player is going to be Astrea. Wow, Astrea didn't have Warp Gate started until that push came.
Ooh.
I was just looking back on it, like, that obviously maybe makes he didn't have the other gateways finished either, so I'm not sure that makes much of a difference, but I believe he also had a Twilight that he wasn't using. Then he started a third. It's just nothing really lined up for him, right? Like, I feel like his build was a bit off, and obviously not having Warp Gate, he couldn't warp in any extra units at the very end. That was kind of crazy. He really just fell over and died there.
It kind of feels like Moondance is this map that, despite it being the quickest rest distance in the pool, feels very much like a turtle map. A map that players will, because you have that free third, fourth, whenever you decide to take it, players will be super greedy because it's a platform, it's hard to go up the ramp, and then you have that free base. So you can just really try to outgreed your opponent. And that, I don't know if that's actually the way the map should be played, but it is the way the map kind of has been played for the moment. Ryung is going to just keep the lights off. Keep Astrea blindfolded in this first game. There we go, supply depot. You don't finish it. You don't want to spend all that money or that working time. But even still, Astrea in this game 2, he's down 1. He doesn't know what Ryung's doing. Is this going to be a factory behind this, or 2 additional barracks going down? And that's not the most comfortable position for Astrea in this game.
No, it's really frustrating. You don't know what's going on here. You're just a little bit in the dark, and I like it from Ryung. At the end of the day, this is just going to be an expansion, one that Astrea can't spot. And yeah, it just plays a bit of a mind game, because now Astrea's like, do I need to be ready of an earlier Widowmine drop than usual? Do I need to be ready for Hellions running by? Yeah, you just don't really know what it is, so I like it. Ryung taking information away, and when you're already uncomfortable after losing the first game, I feel like it's even worse now to be uncomfortable because you're, in this second game and you just don't know what's going on, so... yeah, I like the decision a lot from Ryung.
Yeah, no, it works out well. And behind this, the second barracks going down. So Ryung a little bit more aggressive. Yeah, there we go. 3 racks behind this. So Ryung, we talked about aggression. Yeah, you hide the command center, certainly. But getting those 2 additional barracks behind it, as this is a Stargate opener from Astrea. Astrea now very much has the impetus on scouting on him. You can hold a 3 racks fairly simply with a Stargate opener, but you have to know what's happening. And sometimes they'll see players, they'll go and they'll pull their Phoenix up until 3-4 Phoenix, at which point they don't see the barracks in time out of that, whatever first unit is out of the Stargate. And then, well, it is a significant problem indeed. But for now, right, the Stargate is just finishing. We're going to have to see what Astrea goes for and what's going to happen.
Yep, absolutely. As we get those Phoenix rolling, we're just going to have our barracks powering up. I like it a lot. Again, just switching up. This isn't the kind of typical map to play 3 racks on, right? It's a little bit larger, one you don't expect Terrans just run across, so they might be able to catch Astrea a bit off guard here. Astrea, Warp Gate halfway done. Definitely going to help him this time, I'm sure.
Yep, and it's important now. We do see Astrea. Yeah, he has a little pit stop to float over the Reaper, say, I know you exist. I know. But he is running onto the other side of the map with the Phoenix Marines here out, though. They're going to try to knock this down. Great positioning there from Ryung. Just trying to deny the scouting of Astrea as much as he can. But now the Phoenix It's been able to run around things, seeing actually a lot of Marines. That already is probably a decent amount of tell. We're going to see one barracks, and there's the second. That really is all Astrea needs to see. Yeah, seeing the third barracks would be nice, but he sees no other tech in the main base. He knows this is most likely not going to be a 2-on-1, so already shield batteries going down. We're going to start to see some semblance of a wall in the natural. Astrea, now he knows what's happening. Now, that's step one in defending. We're going to have to see if he's going to be able to do it, but at least he knows what's happening.
Yep. He is aware of what's up, at least, as we do have the Twilight Cans coming online with, 4 gates in total. So he should have a good amount of units on the ground, and that's what you really need. You need a good gateway unit count to support these Phoenix, and then you can actually do okay against the 3 Rex, right? So I think this should be okay. The scout's very important. He's going to start up charge now. This should hit before charge if Ryung does want to go across the map with the initial upgrades. Astrea's going to build a third. I feel like that might be the one target Ryung could get his hands on. So we will see. He's currently getting a turret up, helps on the Phoenix a little bit. And as his upgrade's complete, he really would like to get onto the map and try and cause a little bit of chaos, but he's definitely worried that these Phoenix are just going to get a little bit too much done.
Well, Wardy, if you think about it, you talk about that third base from Astrea. That is almost a bit of a blade of armor, right? It is this whole, oh yeah, Ryung, go put pressure on my third base. Don't stim into my natural. So yeah, you may lose the third. It's only about, halfway done. So certainly it's going to be under fire before it's getting close to done. But it means that Astrea at most probably loses the third base. But charge is on the way. It's about 20 seconds out. And Ryung, he's taking his sweet time as he runs across the map. He's afraid of these Phoenix. He wants to make sure that he can zone them out. Does not want them to knock down reinforcements. Does not want them to pick off stray Marines here or there. And this actually looks like it will buy enough time for Astrea's charge to be done. Maybe not the first stim, but at the second. In fact, Ryung, it looks like he's just running back home. I like that at this point. He knows he's been scattered out. He knows the Phoenix are on the other side of the map. These Marines will most likely not get anything done at this point. Good lifts, actually. That's a lot of Marines going down. And Ryung just seems like he doesn't know what he wants to do now. There are versions of this build where you 3 racks, you get scouted, you just stay at home, and you say, okay, quick third base, we're going to be fine. But that's not what Ryung is doing. He's adding a fourth, a fourth barracks? Yeah, he's adding a fourth barracks, probably a fifth soon. He's going to turn this into a 2-base all-in. And this is not the common just way you build out of this. Oh, he's going to find a bunch of Marines in the middle of the map here. This is not good for Ryung.
No, Ryung took forever to get these Marines back home, and it's obviously just a mistake, right? As these Zealots come charging into the natural, Ryung might just die here. There's just so many Zealots. The Phoenix can obviously lift up a bunch of units as well, taking Marines in the back out of the fight straight away. We lost a bunch of Marines to Phoenix already, and here comes the other Marines that were on the map coming through to, a question mark, say save the day, because I don't think there's much day to be saved right now. Ryung just kind of dies. 3 racks, doesn't do anything, loses way too many Marines because he just kept the Marines in the middle of the map for way too long. I didn't mind that he kept them alive, but either get them home so your reinforcements aren't picked apart by Phoenix, or go and finally do something with them. Like, you can't just do nothing and sit them there. I feel like Ryung was kind of lost with what to do with them, right? Like, they just sat around. They never really did what they were supposed to. It was a very weird little situation, and well, this is going to be Ryung kind of just dying here in game number 2.
Yeah, Ryung trying to play the mind game, I guess, of seeing where the Phoenix are and then maybe punishing them in some way. It's like, oh, I know you're on the other side of the map, so now I'm going to stim in. But unfortunately, Astrea did just a good enough job positioning zoning that Ryung was never really certain that he could commit. Now, it's 57 probes to 24. Army supplies are equal, but as the upgrades complete, Ryung is up 2 upgrades, so that he's got at least that going for him. And mules in the short term are going to be enough to bolster his economy in some way, shape, or form, but Astrea is not teching up. Astrea is not doing anything that might give Ryung a way back in his game. He just says, yeah, more gateways. No gas. In fact, he's only on 2 gas, not even 3. Just pumping out charge lot after charge lot after charge lot in this game that, okay, yeah, Ryung, run across the map. I'm going to surround you with so much stuff that you're just not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, this is yeah, honestly, first game was kind of underwhelming for Astrea, obviously, with no warp gate dying to the first push. The second game is going to be an underwhelming from Ryung. He's going to pull the boys, and he's going to give it a go. Army supply is okay, at least for Ryung, but in theory, you need to be way ahead on army supply because, well, you expect this army of Astrea to be reinforced quite quickly with the economy that he has, so let's see if Ryung can somehow find a way to make a little bit of magic happen here, because I will not lie, I'm not the most convinced right now. We will have a lot of Zealots, and they are typically exactly what you want against this. You got Phoenix that can hopefully lift up the mines here before a fight happens. And yeah, I do think Astrea has all the tools he needs to execute this fight correctly. In we go. There's also going to come charging through. The Marines kite back. It just doesn't feel like Ryung is really pulling much of anything.
Yeah, great friendly fire there from Astrea as well. Gets so much damage on the Marines, but well, there's a story of a zombie Terran, right? They move across the map. They have a couple widow mines. They build a bunker, and maybe. But the Phoenix, for right now, they're doing a great job knocking down reinforcements. So this army that Ryung has on the other side of the map is the only army he ever will have on the other side of the map. That being said, widow mines get a couple Phoenix here to start. The bio of Ryung, stimming bottom side, trying to knock down more and more of these Phoenix. And honestly, if you got a bunch of widow mines, you got a bunker. With this 1-1 upgrade lead against Astrea, there's a world where if it's just Zealots against this bunker and these Widow Mines with no Phoenix there to drag or anything like that, there's a world where this push does work for Ryung anyways. But as the game goes on, as Astrea just continues warping in more and more and more, here come Widow Mines. Great target fire actually on the Widow Mines on top of these Zealots, but even still, there is just so much Zealot, so much Zerg, so much Zealot on the ground from Astrea right now. This army of Ryung is just not able to get what it needs. That being said, though, he micros back. There's a lot more than I thought there was. Now Astrea having to run back to the defense of that shield battery. Overcharge now popped. Yeah, the Widow Mines are done. The bunker is dead. But Ryung, he's continuing to kind of make this work a little bit, Wardy.
Yeah, but I mean, he's only got 17 SCVs, so his army was scary. The super battery popper was essential for Astrea because it meant that Ryung didn't attack in there where he was perhaps at his most dangerous. Gonna get in here now. Nelly gets through that first battery. I mean, a lot of this fighting has been working because he's been away from batteries. Medevac's out of energy, though, and this group of Zealots should be able to get the job done. This time, the fight will not be good enough for Ryung, as he really made it, as close as he possibly could. Just wasn't enough quite in the end, and that is going to be the GG's and giving us a game 3 here between Astrea and Ryung in the next few moments.
Yeah, you know what? Game 1, underwhelming for Astrea. Game 2, mostly underwhelming for Ryung. I mean, he took like one good fight, and you're thinking maybe, but 17 SCVs, 17 SCVs changes that a good deal. But that just means game 3 is going to be fantastic, right? It's like, well, one player, they got the bad games out of their system, right?
Yeah, I mean, they both got a bad game out of their system, so now it's going to be the best game ever.
There we
That's
go.
how it works. Something like that, yeah. That'd be cool. I mean, obviously, these two absolutely can give us a great game. We've seen two very one-sided games so far. I think we'd obviously just expect... I expected this to be a lot closer. I didn't expect these games to look like this, right? So, I maybe expected this game to look a bit like how the game ended. It's like, oh, can Ryung do it? But without kind of the anti-climax of the entire build-up, where we just saw that Ryung was kind of meant to be a bit dead in the first place, right? So... yeah, we'll be finding out shortly as we will get into our game number 3. We'll have a look to see who can take this one down. Keep their run alive as we continue in this lower bracket. It's day to see. I mean, the map is set up to be fantastic for the final map here.
That it really is. Tropical Sacrifice is a big map, but it does have actually a really short rush distance, third base to third base. We saw Ryung trying to take advantage of that. Day to see, though, may not be the biggest map of the pool, but it plays like the biggest map in the pool. It's the most macro map in the pool, and in these two late game gods, Astrea, he plays such a just chaotic style in that late game, giving us such awesome stuff. Maybe this is the game that we're finally going to see something. But in order to do that, we're going to have to introduce our player in the middle left now. In the gold for Team GP, the Grandmaster Terran, it's Ryung.
And of course, in the top right-hand side is going to be our purple Protoss player. This is, of course, Astrea.
I'm so glad you've taken the Astrea introduction 3 times in a row, because it means we get to inflict the purple Protoss player explosives on you and not me. Thank you.
I mean, I'll take it. If that's what I need to do, if that's what the StarCraft demands of me, I will alliterate the introduction.
There we go. I've been thinking though. You asked for game 1, and I still don't have anything. Sorry. I'm not creative or witty or anything like that. It's just not working out.
It's okay. As we get into this one, I couldn't have even got the Protoss purple, whatever the else it was. I wouldn't have been able to get that one in the first place. So you're already ahead of me.
There we go.
I just put you on the spot.
I guess we can talk about Ryung roaring and raring to go or something. Rip raring roaring. That'd be much more fun if I could roll my R's, but I'm not ready.
The really roaring Ryung. Yeah,
No, that's greater though.
Let's just go on. Let's just continue.
let's abandon this. All right, so it's going to be Reaper expanded for Ryung in this game. Number 3, nothing too crazy. He does, of course, allow the scout. He wasn't, well, normally when you kind of deny that half the time, it will be a 3 racks opening. So Astrea going to take a little bit of solace in the fact that he's not going to get 3 racks into Oblivion, or I guess 5 racks into Oblivion like that previous game. But that really is just the map already. I mean, it just takes so long to get across it.
Yeah, no, the size of this map is definitely going to allow us to see. Honestly, I really do feel like we're going to get one of those games where Ryung has to play against Disruptors. He's got to try and outposition his opponent. I really do believe he's going to make a good game of it. And I think Astrea can play in such a way that, because a lot of the time Astrea's games are quite scrappy. Just the way he seems to play kind of leads him into those situations a lot. So, really, again, I feel like these two can match up very well on a map like this one. We're going to see a Twilight opener as well. So, we're going to get our Twilight counter down pretty much straight away. Also fantastic.
And well, okay, that we're not going to go there. So yeah, Twilight opener from Astrea, and you talked about this late game scenario that we've been talking about it for 2 games now, and we've been cruelly denied. But that's going to be a really interesting stylistic setup. Astrea is one of these players that really likes to go into, as you said, mass disruptor play. He's a fan. He's a scion of the Gateway Man style of Protoss. And Ryung, it's funny, if we can talk about any Terran as a Deathball Terran, it almost is Ryung. Yeah, it's hard to, you don't Deathball as Terran as all that easily, but he's not one of these players that really multi-prongs. He's not a Beyond, he's not a Mario in that way. He sets himself up. He gets these big surrounds. He runs around with one big army and looks to punish as hard as you can these mass, well, either it's a Deathball style coming from the Protoss player lots of Colossus, or just more importantly, this Gateway late game style. He says, look, yeah, you got your army all the other side of the map. I'm just going to punish you right here. But of course, to get there, we have to get through the early game. And it looks like Ryung kind of geared up for a similar drop to what we saw Maru do against Ragnarok, and also here Marine do against Trigger.
Yeah. As it'd be fun to see those kind of games kind of from a Ryung perspective as this Reaper. What's going to go down? Obviously, nice to just try and dive in for as much information as you can. Reaper isn't going to be useful forever. The Raven on the way out here for Ryung is actually going to be kind of fun too, especially if Astrea, as that robo comes down, an extra gas on the natural. I know that's only 3, but there's 4. Especially if this starts to turn into Colossi, because then the Raven's a really good choice, and it opens a lot of timings for you, and it opens a lot of opportunities. So I'm kind of down for that, as this hallucination was so close to spotting this Widowmine drop. So not quite knowing what direction it's coming from. Blink is done though. The benefit of the blink timing here is to pretty much deny the Widowmine drop from being able to do too much. First mine hits into the assimilator as well, so no probe kill. And of course, with blink available, we can set up this other mine. That's what Ryung was doing. I feel like he thought he could get to the natural, but I think that was very wishful thinking. This was very well defended.
It's not the end of the world from Ryung. It's not like it's 4 Widow Mines or 2 drops. Yeah, you want to get something done, and not getting a single probe is very much not what you're looking for. But again, 2 Widow Mines, it's a medevac. Could be worse, but certainly could be better as well. And Ryung is getting ready. Well, not for the 3-1-1, actually. Third base on the way behind this. He's going to have stim done around 6:30, and we've seen him experiment with this idea more and more. I'm going to get a quicker stim. I'm going to get my upgrades on time, but I have a much quicker third base than I normally would, because I'm only on, maybe my third barracks is delayed, or I'm just not building as much out of it. Which means, yeah, sure, he still has a powerful timing, but that is a timing that is not meant to kill the Protoss, but it's meant to defend the third base, because you're just being active on the other side of the map. You do not let the Protoss get too aggressive into you. But for now, 4th and 5th barracks are on the way. We're going to see Ryung move out in about a minute or so, and well, let's see how Astrea is going to be able to deal with it.
Yeah. No, I think as Astrea just goes into that charge and the prism and everything, this is going to be his chance to kind of get on the map and be a bit aggressive as well. But it's kind of funny because it's that kind of timing where the Terran wants to do the same. So typically as Astrea, you just get that prism in position, you try and punish the Terran from moving out. So yeah, we'll see if he's going to make that typical move and how well Ryung deals with it, because of course Ryung would love to get across the map and to start dealing at least a little bit of damage here early on. So we will see as this hallucination. You're picking up great info as well, right? Sees absolutely everything. 3rd CC, 4th and 5th racks timing. You could not be more in the know right now in this game number 3.
It feels like we're going to see Astrea drop a... Oh, nice blink there forward. Good. Just from the observer from earlier. Means one medevac goes down. A little bit miscontrol there from Ryung. But Astrea, he's on 6 gas. So you would think this is going to be Colossus play eventually. It seems like he's very afraid of this push coming in from Ryung. So he says, look, I want to make sure that I am ready. I'm going to have charge done. I'm going to have a couple mortals. And then I'm going to go drop that second robo, drop the robo bay. But again, Ryung does not really seem to have all that too many eyes on getting aggressive here. Yeah, he's going to posture a little bit, but it really is all about getting that third base. The Stalkers on the right side should not be able to get too much done. Random Zealot into the mineral line. Friendly fire may be more of a problem than anything else, but Tank does not fire. Stalkers try to find their way in, but still the army of Ryung just a little bit too powerful. With that +1 done, stim and combat shields, I mean, 4 Stalkers just, they don't fight that.
No, obviously they really don't. Stalkers are not always the best of units, right? They definitely have their moments, Stalkers, right, where they're really good and stuff, so yeah, just gotta be a little bit careful with them. As, yeah, a little random Immortal was on the map too. That is a cheeky Stalker as well. He is super camouflaged.
Shh. He just wants to take a nap, Wardy. Don't wake him up. He's very happy.
Just crafting a ghillie suit in there, man. He's just gonna be a super undercover Stalker. So you do have, I mean, Army of Ryung down the bottom right. Never really got a chance to use the Raven until now, which feels a bit of a shame, right? Because if you've not really used it, maybe I could have hit a mineral line a bit more, done some harassment. That Prism's low. These Marines need to get on top of that Prism, stop this warp, and stop further units. He does get that, and the Zealot's derping as the SCV blocked the mineral line for a little bit. So perfect defense in the main base from Ryung, and Astrea loses out on a few hundred minerals and just really gets very little out of that. So that was an ideal defense from Ryung. I mean, it's exactly what you're looking for in situations like this. Goes a long way. And at the same time, doesn't do much in terms of a bigger, larger fight, but isn't that just Ryung all over, like we were saying earlier? He kind of prefers to play that longer game. He doesn't want to dive in early because he feels like he can just do better when it comes to the larger army movements and positioning in those later game fights. So far, it's just really matching up into how Ryung kind of wants to play these TVPs.
I think it really is just matching up into that game that we've been talking about, how much we want. 4 or 5 bases all over the place, big engagements, big multi-prong. And, well, we're getting in there, right? We have 3 Colossus on the map right now. 2 Colossus on the map right now, moving into Disruptors behind that. Ryung getting a little aggressive, trying to deny what will be the 5th base, but there's just too much army from Astrea right now as Ryung, his 4th base, just about ready. Ghosts on the way. Now, because of how he opened, of course, his upgrades are not really well timed out. He does have +2 attack on the way as this DT will get found out. Good vision there from Ryung as Disruptor, well, he's going to deal with the Widow Mine that's been delaying the 5th base just a little bit, but hey, good scout there. Ryung knows what's happening. As both players approach max out, though, we should start to see them getting a little bit more aggressive into things. This is where, well, Ryung has a little bit more agency on the map, so does Astrea, and actually, he's going to be the one moving out first here. Couple Disruptors, couple Dark Temp, or a couple Colossuses. There we go. That Widow Mine will be dealt with. The question now is whether Ryung is ready, but look at this. Clump in the middle of the map as well. He's setting something up a little bit.
Yeah, you can already see the potential surround, right? The unit's just in the center. 100% has the potential to collapse in. He's not going to keep 2 armies together as one big army for a little while. Not that they're going to be like super far apart from each other, just that he knows that to be successful in this matchup, being aggressive in multiple places is very important, as he doesn't quite get that obs that he was playing for. So that's a little bit of a shame. Itchy is going to send the army to the top side. He says, cool, if you're going to hang around the bottom, I'll get up here and I'm going to cancel up a base. Well, this might be Astrea's opportunity to just push on in. Good EMP to start, though. Will zone those first few Stalkers out. The Zealots as well kind of melted there. So good start for Ryung if he wants to hold this off. Definitely steps in the right direction in the first few moments, as he's actually going to find himself the next base as well. It's actually kind of an issue, no? I mean, Astrea, he's going to maybe get the 4th, I suppose. Okay, so he does get the 4th at least. What can Ryung do over here in terms of fighting this army? He's losing SCVs in the other mineral line, which is really the killer, because Astrea hasn't lost too many SCVs so far. Now his worker count, probe count is dropping. He loses 18 while Ryung loses 32. Ryung with more army on the end of it. And they're both kind of on 3-ish bases. Like, Ryung has a base on the south side, but that's not saturated right now. Wow, kind of a fascinating couple of moments between these two, and that really all kicked off out of nowhere.
Yeah, kind of an interesting pseudo base trade. Those force fields from Astrea were so dang good. I think Ryung probably could have taken that fight, or at least taken a decent enough fight that with reinforcements he would be able to force that army back. As Ryung is not going to see this, I don't think, but technically he did see the shimmer. And now Ryung getting himself set up on the map once again. We're going to see those rocks go down as Astrea runs forward. And while life is good for Astrea right now, he's got much better economy coming in from the right side here. Disruptors are going to get targeted down. One goes down, two goes down. Great actual use of the Raven there. One Disruptor will be denied. But meanwhile, DT's into this third base position. Ryung, you kill the DTs, please. Thank you. Missile turret is going to die at his own hand. No, the repair is going to be good enough, but 6 more SCVs do fall. Ryung, his economy is just bordering on existing. 45 with mules is somewhat okay, and his army supply is actually pretty massive here as he finds his way onto the 12 o'clock base, but looks like he's going to waffle. He says, I don't have enough just yet. I forced Astrea home, though. At the very least, my army is big. Maybe this is going to be playable for me.
I really got a little bit worried there because Astrea, man, he was a moment away from losing all the Disruptors. I actually think if Ryung had an EMP for the 4 Disruptor clump, I actually think he would have killed them. And then you just collapse on this entire army of Astrea. So, yeah, I feel like Astrea kind of just about slipped away in that last fight. And now Ryung keeps up some map control. It would be good to get rid of another base, right? Just because he is only on 3. I know he's about to go back up toward 4, but if you can just keep this base away, just give him a bit of a better chance. Yeah, it's a lot of units that are here. He doesn't really want to get these units trapped either. So you've got to be pretty careful. The Raven's been taking hits as well, so that's getting lower and lower. It's been great utility so far. It's even better, obviously, the longer you get to use it for, right? So he'd definitely Dreamer, keeping that alive as long as possible. I'm kind of surprised that Astrea hasn't tried to kind of just pounce on this army of Ryung from like the south side at some stage, because I feel like had chances to perhaps cut this army off.
Yeah, certainly. Now, more and more Vikings are on the way from Ryung as he's understanding that this Colossus count, it's only 2, but as the upgrades increase, it is continuing to be a little bit of a problem. As now Astrea, he's going to find half the army of Ryung on the bottom right side. Ryung is really only halfway there. Good EMPs, though, to start. Vikings actually knocking down. Actually, no, they're not going to get the Colossus just yet. Armor upgrades too powerful. All the Vikings are dead. Ryung does have 3-3 on the way. It's not there just yet. And despite that fight, which is really not the best for him, he does maintain a supply lead. Disruptors flanking in through the line of sight blocker will be able to really not get all that much just yet, as the Widowmine is not going to go down. Astrea just a little short. We need to take this guy out to a bowling alley.
That's the second time, though, and the I tell you what, the potential of killing those Disruptors was huge. Ryung knew they were on the top base originally, so he knew they weren't on that bottom army. I wonder if his middle army could have perhaps tried to intercept the Disruptors, kind of knowing that they should be on the way to the south now to join the main fight. So yeah, that was maybe a possibility that Ryung could have done better with. DT is already lined up to go into a mineral line here as Ryung is trying to get busy with the army. He's got just a little squad of units on the top side, still playing against this 5-base Protoss with his own 4 bases, just about hanging in there. That 4th has just recently come online, and they're going to try and maintain it.
That he will. So it looks like Astrea finds a bit of the army in the middle of the map. Is Mike?
Yeah, mine too.
Radio cast is just a little bit. Great surround coming in. Ryung on the left side. Armor Shredder missile on top of everything, but Ryung feels like he can only bring one army together here. The army on the left side, right around that 9 o'clock position. 3-3 halfway done. And Ryung, somehow, we're 15 minutes into this game, and there is no enhanced shockwaves. It looks like, okay, we good. We got the game back, Wardy. We're going to be okay.
Cool. Nice. So we get to come back through a little bit of a different fight or two as we got our armies of Astrea moving down to the south. So he's going to get in position to try and fight this 4th, as we do have our bio army of Ryung. And keep on training.
And that it will. So now Astrea into this 4 o'clock, or the 4th base position. Disruptor's doing a great job of zoning things out. A decent shot to start. A couple Marauders will fall, but the problem really is as 4 SCVs go down, this is just not a position that Ryung can really fight into all that well, but he's on the middle of the map again. He's making this, Astrea has that skillless game in mind. He says, okay, well, I remember last time I saw Protoss commit into Ryung's 4th base, I know what happens. So every time he moves forward, he says, no, there's the army in the middle of the map. I cannot go too far. So again, instead, it's this game where Astrea, from a winning position, his bank is incredible. He's sitting on, 6 bases to 4. He understands that any sort of overcommitment, or just even commitment in this situation, feels really difficult indeed. As now Ryung's going to be able to deny the net. Oh, it gets up. Wait a minute. Ryung can kill this. That might be an even better trade for him, but he says, no. He's going to scout the army. It says, I can't really do that just yet. But the question now really, Wardy, how does Ryung get a 5th?
Yeah, I don't really know how he takes the 5th base at all. He is going to try and come in. You're right about Astrea being kind of Very much so in this case or situation where one bad fight for him can lose everything, and then it doesn't really matter what your bank is, because rebuilding a disruptor count from 0 takes a while, right? So then you could be in a lot of trouble as he's going to counterattack down the left side. Ryung is going to try and finish off this bottom right base. Does he have enough to hold on here? But now he's going to start giving up this base. The Stalker's blinking forward. The bottom right base died during this as well, by the way, so that's already gone down. They're going to push on through, and there's Colossi that are going to get chased. I mean, this left side army is going to get completely wiped out.
Yeah, Wardy, the strength of the army, or the composition of Astrea right now, is all those disruptors. He's sitting on, I think, 7. Yeah, he's got 7 disruptors on the map. That army on the north side that put pressure on the third base, yeah, got 12 SCVs, which is a lot. Astrea, or Ryung's only on 36. But he had nothing that really just prevents the army from running at him. Not enough force fields, if any. Certainly no disruptors. And now on the right side, Ryung aware of things. First 2 shots will go out. Astrea has to be very careful. He cannot send multiple shots out at any given time. It's got to be 1, 1, 1, 1. Keep that zoning going, as again, Ryung will deny the 12 o'clock base. So now, Ryung, he's on 4 bases. He does have that 5th command center on the way. Stocks now blink forward on top of the medevac. Ryung has just to give this position up and run away. But Astrea is banked behind this 5K, 2K. Oh. While, yes, rebuilding those Colossus takes a while. Rebuilding disruptors takes a while. You go Mass Gateway, man. Oh, big disruptor shot on the clean feed. Oh.
Yeah, the disruptor shots in the bottom right were actually really nasty. They were, because honestly, Ryung had a really good catch on the Zelt DT force, shut that down. But Astrea obviously then knew where that army was. A mistake from Astrea as he moved commands in a little bit, losing some stalkers. I was just about to talk about how Ryung obviously has to keep on playing efficiently with this lesser work count, but so far he's been able to find that, and his army absolutely has been delivering. But that was the exact sort of thing you don't want to have happen. You can't let these disruptors hit big time. If anything, you want to be trying to pick off 1 or 2 of these disruptors at least before you take a major battle. That could have been his chance. It's all about knowing what's there, and he just doesn't have the bases, I guess, to scan ahead as much as he would usually like to. And that's rough, right? Because now, you know, what could have been a scan to see what's there, see the disruptors split, kill them all, turns into him losing a massive chunk of army instead.
That it is. You're only on 3 orbitals as this Widowmine will get knocked down, but it's still scary for Astrea to run up on the high ground. Now, Sensor Tower goes down, and that really unlocks the central portion of the map for Astrea right now, and Ryung has to be so careful. Stalker's gonna blink forward on top of things. Vikings are just about useless. EMP's blanket the army. Disruptor shot does not get too much just yet, but Astrea, he's got to be careful. The army on the bottom side of Ryung looking for the flank. Disruptor shot. Disruptor 1 will go down, but it looks like it was a big shot indeed. And now Disruptor's on the right side as well. Good hot pick up there for Ryung. He's gonna be able to keep his army alive. 5th base looks like it will start to be able to morph into a planetary. Another free Disruptor here from Ryung. But I think just off camera, we saw a massive shot in the supply now. 40, 30, 40 in the lead for Astrea right now. Ryung, he's got to get more here.
Yeah, I mean, he just needs to not die to these disruptors, of course, as well. Taking clips, he is going to try and deny this base. There's a massive counterattack on the bottom, and for once, Ryung doesn't have anything split down there. I'm pretty sure there was just way too much Astrea on this bottom base. Going to take down this planetary. Ryung is in no position to be losing any amounts of economy. He was obviously behind a lot in this game, but he was really staying in it, right? He was really giving himself the chance, looking for the one big fight to maybe turn it all around on. Now, unfortunately, it feels like that's not going to be anywhere near as possible. Astrea just getting into a really comfortable army position, I think, is what he hasn't had. Like, he's had the money, he's had the bank, he's had the ability to move around the map, but now Ryung is going to have very limited rebuild, and he's going to lose this space. Yeah, Ryung is very much still going to be on his last army here, and that is just probably not going to cut it as he stops moving against that disruptor.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Now, Beyond trying to get on top of this disruptor. 1 will go down, make it 2. Big shot on the right side, though, and that really should just do it here. But Ryung, big concave, gonna move in. 1 disruptor follows, make it a 2nd. Most of the disruptors on the map right now, there's only 1 that remains. If there's a timing for Ryung, it is gonna be right here. He's down about 60 army supply, even more, but Stalkers, they don't necessarily fight this bio too super well, but it does not matter. The big shots from the big balls are gonna knock Astrea